What up, it's Dane. In this video I'm going to be telling you how to burn fat without losing muscle, so preserve all your muscle mass while dieting and still getting shredded, lean and ripped. So without further ado, let's jump straight into this video. Okay, so if you're like me and you're cutting at the moment but you want to preserve and maintain the most amount of muscle mass as possible, this video is going to be for you, so make sure to watch the whole video. So let's get straight into this, man. So obviously you want to maintain the most amount of muscle as possible. I'm sure everyone does this, want to get a great physique, so I'm going to be telling you exactly that in a short, sweet and concise way, right? So let's get it. So in order to maintain muscle mass, your protein intake needs to be real high, right? Especially when you're on dieting. Basically, the more training you do, the bigger the deficit, the more protein intake is required. Hence why when you're in a calorie surplus, you're bulking, you're consuming more calories than your body requires per day, you need less protein because your body has more nutrients available. But when you're dieting and you're in a fat loss stage, your protein intake needs to be about 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight, a minimum of 1 gram per pound of protein, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, a minimum. That's real important to know. So now that we have the protein intake, we can go into a calorie deficit, right? So probably the main principle why I'm making this video is because maybe like you think the bigger the deficit, the more muscle you lose, and it is the case, but it's not really the case. Let me explain it. Someone told me today that, oh, don't go to big deficit or you'll lose muscle, stuff like this, right? That's why I'm making this video, but that's not the case. Let's get warmed up. So in order to preserve the most amount of muscle, protein intake is high, right? Second factor why I say just being in a big calorie deficit you won't lose muscle is this. Just because you're in a bigger deficit doesn't mean you're going to lose more fat, right? Unless your protein intake is low. Of course, you're not going to feel as healthy compared to a 500 calorie deficit, but that's probably the only factors, right? Here's on the other side. If you're in a 1000 calorie deficit, you're not going to have enough energy to train a lot and still maintain strength. And as a natural lifter, strength is a great indicator for preserving the amount of muscle mass, right? So if your strength is decreasing rapidly, you know your muscle mass is also going to decrease rapidly. As a natural, this is a great indicator, right? Trust me about this. So that's why 1000 calorie deficit is not the best way to preserve muscle mass while cutting. Hence why bodybuilders and stuff like this, they do about 300 calorie deficit, even probably 200. They go the real slow route. This way you can still maintain the performance and still feel a bit more healthy. Not that bodybuilders feel healthy at such a low body fat percentage, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? So the bigger the calorie deficit does not necessarily mean the more muscle mass you will lose. Of course, if your protein intake is not high enough, that will be the case. So to summarize it, the bigger the calorie deficit, the more protein intake is required. The more activity, the more protein intake is required, and the leaner the individual, the more protein intake is required. So those are the three main tips about protein intake, right? And this video was how to preserve muscle mass while cutting and just maintaining the most amount of mass and look the best shape when you get down to that lean body fat percentage, right? So I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe down below. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comment section. I'd love to hear. But more importantly, stay positive, stay smiling, and I'll see you in the next one.